Hey, it's Nikki Thompson, and you're listening to Tea with Nikki, embracing your sexual energy. And today's episode is a little bit different. We have a guest on the podcast today, and I'm so excited. She is a friend of mine, and we met a number of years ago when I was in desperate need of help at home. And she's not your typical kind of person to come and help you at home. She is a declutter and organizing coach and mentor. And this is Tash Longden. She is the founder of Passionate Living. She's like an author, she's a speaker, and she really specializes in helping women remove that overwhelm and craziness and create more quality time with their loved ones. So she does that by helping you organize your home, get rid of all the clutter. And that's exactly what she did for me about 3 or so years ago. So today's interview with her is quite fun. There's definite mention of different vibrators and issues that we have in terms of storing them. And so I would love for you to stay tuned and listen to our little chat. It's like a fly on the wall chat of two women talking about getting organized in the bedroom. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Let's go into our chat with Tash. All right. Good morning, Tash. I'm so excited to have you on here.
Thank you. Good morning.
So our conversations here on the podcast are all about embracing our sexual energy, tapping into that feminine side of us. And as the queen of decluttering, I am super excited to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
And, I remember the impact you made when I hired you so many years ago to come in and help me declutter my home because I was feeling super overwhelmed, and I had a little baby at the time who's now like 4. And you just helped me kind of create, it was like this nice vibe, this nice energy in my home because everything was sorted and I felt like I could do that myself. So thank you for doing that. And it actually is still pretty good condition.
Oh, yay. That's awesome.
I was thinking about our chat coming up, and on the weekend I was like, oh, you know what? A lot of my cupboards are still in that kind of order. And I remember one of the biggest things that we did was the toy cupboard in the front area. And oh my gosh, there was so much crap everywhere. And now everything's in their little containers. So,
and you had beautiful baskets. The kids had baskets, then they could put it away themselves.
Yes,
the boys could. And they had their little drawers as well. So they could put all their cars away, and it was all in a good little area for them.
Yes. And it has shifted as they've got older. Their focus is more on iPad charger leads and stuff like that rather than trains and cars. But, we still have the same kind of concept there. So, that was awesome. So, a lot has shifted over the past couple of years for both of us. So Can you tell me a bit about what you've been doing, what you've been working on the last couple of years?
Well, I have still been going into people's homes and decluttering them and showing them routines and structures that work for the individual households. So just recently, I've actually stopped going into homes and focusing more on the coaching and mentoring. I have my vision book that I wrote last year because I found when I went into people's homes, so they had a lot of stuff, but they didn't know what they actually wanted in life. So they couldn't make the decision on what they wanted to get rid of when they were decluttering. So I was like, how do I help them figure out what they want in life? And it's like, well, there's different aspects of life. There's work, there's family, there's fitness and self-care and all those sorts of things. So it's like, I need to divide it up and get them to really, with their, heart of hearts, think about what they want. And then I need to try and somehow you know, the KonMari method, spark joy. Does it spark joy? And it's like, you know, everything can spark joy. But I was like, I need to think of a numerical, like a measurement or something. So I came up with soul value, which stands for strength of love. So you've got from 1 to 3, 4 to 7, 8 to 10. So, and then I've got an explanation of what those three things are. So like 1 to 3 is rubbish, and 4 to 7 is, you know, almost there. And 8 to 10 is like, hell yeah, like love it. It's like, right. Okay. So every single thing has to be a 8 to 10, hell yeah, love it in your house, whether it's your toothbrush, whether it's your undies, whether it's the fry pan you use to cook, whatever. So I was like, right, get your shit together, figure out what you want in life by, you know, getting clarity and writing things down, sticking pictures in the book and going through the book all the time, writing the list. I also have a list in there that says things that you'd like to accomplish, but things you already have accomplished. So you recognize that, you know, you're not a loser and you actually have done really good things.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And then really, you know, what's 8 to 10? So that, you know, a brain like that thinks like that, you know, it's like really makes people think about it with a little bit more depth. So, and it's working. People are buying my book and they love it.
That's excellent. And I think you're so right. Like when we start looking at around our house, you know, I've read KonMari's, like the method.
Yeah.
And, you know, at different points, nearly everything has sparked joy. But, you know, it's like, well, do I still need to keep this here or not? And especially the undies. Like for me, that was a big one going through because, and I actually spoke about this not long ago, was about how, you know, for our kids, we don't really second guess buying them new clothes that when they need it. But for us, it's like we've got to justify buying new underwear. I'm like, for fuck's sake, like they've got holes in it, and yet I'm still not going to get new undies. So if you are listening right now and you need new undies, please go and get some.
And get rid of the skanky ones.
Yeah.
Put them in the bin. Just don't worry about landfill just for your skanky undies because they're only small and, you know, hopefully they do biodegrade.
Yes, that's brilliant. And I love how you talk about understanding what women have already accomplished, because a lot of the time we're focused on where we're heading, but it's confusing and we feel like crap if we're like just aiming high for all these other areas but not looking at what we've already achieved. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's so good. I also with especially, it's mainly women because we are so horrible to ourselves a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know, and one thing I do say to people is to declutter for today. So don't have the jeans in the wardrobe that you looked awesome in when you were 21 because you were so beautiful then and you were so much better then. Like you are beautiful now. You are beautiful right now. So go and buy the next size up or whatever size it is and feel good now, today, because you're beautiful today. And they're like, oh, yes, you're right.
Yes, that is so true. Like thinking about, you know, how do we want to feel right now? I love it.
Yeah.
So when I, like, for, you know, our podcast talking about sexual energy, what does that mean to you when I talk about sexual energy?
Oh, it means happiness. That's what I automatically think. And love and loving the self, because we really do need to love ourselves before anything else. And then, when we love everything in our home as well. And then when we do that, everything radiates, everything feels good, and the energy is amazing.
Yeah. And I love that you talk about the energy, because I feel like you can feel it. Like you can feel it when your home is cluttered, you know, when there's shit everywhere, like I can't think straight, all of those things. But when I walk into a home that's beautifully organized, it feels good and I feel quite energized. And in fact, last week and I was telling you this just before we recorded, I had some cleaners come in and do a big deep clean, spring clean of my home, because it was all my home is quite tidy. I don't have a lot of crap everywhere. But I have like this dust allergy. So dusting for me is I'm sick for days. And so I had this cleaner come in and I had to be mindful. So beside my bed, I have a power pack to charge my vibrators. And I was like, I was thinking, shit, okay,
Oh, I'm just going to leave that there, but I might better put the vibrators away. So have you kind of come across that
Oh,
when
oh,
decluttering? And
yes.
you know, how else do people store them? You know, is there some kind of solution?
I do have a story. So I have a client who is still a client, and so they were moving house, and we started decluttering quite a bit before they started moving house. And she's lovely, she's very, just go in there and, do that and look in there and open everything. We did the kitchen, we did all that. And she was like, oh no, the bedroom, it's, pretty messy, blah, blah, blah. So we went in there and we started with her clothes. We did the wardrobe and all of those sorts of stuff. So she had a basket that she keeps her socks in. And she's like, oh, do you think it's bad to get all the socks out and pair them up and throw away the bad ones? I'm like, hell no, let's do it. So we've pulled the bed sheet back. So the bed's all nice and flat. I've tipped out the basket and boom, there rolls out the vibrator. And she's like, oh no, I don't use that. I'm like, why not? Because it was a gift. And then she went bright red and I'm like, darling, I've got 3 of these. You should be really charging this one up and using it. There's nothing wrong with that. She's like, really?
Yeah, it's funny, and this is why I do the podcast and why I talk the way I talk, is because it's things like that. It's like people feel this shame, embarrassment around self-pleasure, around sex. And I mean, you going into people's homes and decluttering, you're going to come across that.
Oh, yeah.
And there doesn't need to be any shame or embarrassment around there. Like, and what I love your response, like you should be using it, like get in there, charge it up, use it. Like I love that. So how do you feel like, for you being in touch with your sexual energy, and I can feel like your vibe, you're very vibrant. I always see you on your morning walks and you're always,
well, thank you.
I love your energy, and that's what attracted me to you in the first place when we first met. How do you feel like that helps your business and your work?
Oh, definitely. Like coming back, how you're doing your 10-day challenge and to have an orgasm a day, is it? Is that what it is? Yeah. And I sometimes, if I'm feeling a bit flat and I don't have as much energy, I will make sure I have an orgasm and I feel better already. And I do feel more vibrant. And then I feel like talking to my clients and I feel like helping them, like in their mind and decluttering their life and getting themselves organized. So it really does shift my energy and I love it. And I've always been big. I mean, I started I think the first time I ever masturbated, I would have been, 12.
Yeah.
And my mum had a massaging thing, not a vibrator, but a massaging thing. And I found that and I was like, whoa. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to do it all the time, but I was never shamed. I was never shamed for it. I was very lucky. Mum was very open and she's like, well, darling, there's nothing wrong with that. And my dad still is a prude, and we just didn't talk about it with dad, but mum was fine. So I was very lucky. And, through my first marriage, I had a fantastic, sexual relationship with him. I've got a fantastic sexual relationship with my husband now. So I've never felt shame in my body. I have stretch marks all over my body. I have produced 3 beautiful babies. There's all sorts of, I had 30 odd stitches in my vagina, but you know what? It's like, I really enjoy this energy and I really enjoy having sex and making love and doing it with myself or with my partner. So I believe it really helps every day, your every day. And I know that there are a lot of people that are really good business people that actually agree with it.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love how you talk about, how that recharges you and energizes you.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you are so blessed to have a mum who is so open and supportive, because often it's our childhood experiences that is our first layer of shame around it, around sex and masturbation and all of that kind of thing. It's like that's our first layer, and then they just get thick and fast after that, through society and friends and family and things like that. So I love that you had that support and that you also bring that down to your own daughters. Like,
oh yeah.
And that is a real gift for them to be able to have that openness with you.
Yeah,
because
it
we
is.
feel like, you know, as a mum, especially mother to daughters, you know, we are such a role model for their sexual experiences and appreciation of their bodies. So I loved hearing that. That's amazing.
It is cool. I love it because, I have my own 3 daughters, and I also have 2 stepdaughters who I call bonus daughters. And we're slowly talking about that with them because they're teenagers. You know, my daughters are all in their 20s, but they're in their teenagers. So I actually get to talk openly with them and you know, give them that it's all okay, it's awesome, go for it, it's good for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. And so how do you feel like, you know, you're talking about how that energizes you? Do you think for you it helps you make better decisions, like
definitely,
to like guide you? Do you know what I mean?
Clearer decisions. Like I feel like I can, I don't know, it's like I'm grounded and I'm like ready. Yes. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that. Like, yes, it really does. It gives you clarity and it's clearer. Yeah. Clearer.
Yeah. I love that because, and it feels like we can, when we are in that space, when we've reconnected with our physical body, we're less in our head, and therefore we can hear that intuition, and that often guides us from a place of love.
Intuition. You just said it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
What you just said is what I was trying to say. Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
and
right.
It's
because you're out of your head, you're having a whole body, and then you can use your intuition like naturally.
Yeah. And we can make better decisions rather than from a place of fear and anxiety and stress, which is often where we're coming from, you know, in all different parts of our life. So
you know, I can have like, right, okay, so I'm going to have some clients and be on the phone to them, go, now, could you please go and have an orgasm before we start, because you will feel so much better, you'll have so much clarity, and you'll get so much more done today.
It's a new service. It's just guidance. Little gifts, little vibrator gifts for
I would so do that.
Yeah, maybe that's something we could look into. Anyway, so okay, so we're talking about our sexual energy and how that can guide us and how we can feel that. So for me, when I've got a decluttered space, I can really because you know how, I don't know if you've ever had this experience, okay, so you're having sex or you're having a self-pleasure moment, but then you're looking around the room thinking, oh my God, this is a mess. Like, oh God, maybe I need to wash the sheets. Right? Like, oh shit, like, have I done the washing yet? Like, you know, those things. You can't, like you can't have an orgasm when you're in your head. And so for me, I know that having a nice space, and I actually talk about this in my online course, I have a whole module on creating your ideal environment for this.
Oh, beautiful.
And so what would be some of your tips on, especially for the bedroom, bathroom spaces, what would you suggest to help people kind of get into that space?
So with the bedroom, you want as little as possible in there. So if you are single, and you actually want a partner, you've got a clear space next to where that partner would be. So that sort of thing. But if you're married,
that's interesting.
And you have a space in the cupboard for them as well. It's opening up to the universe. So if you're married and so you only have photographs of yourself in your bedroom is yours and your husband's or your wife's. And you only have photographs of yourself and your things. You don't have photos of your parents and your kids and everything. That's all everywhere else in the house. So obviously you have your bedside tables with your own little things on it, but you have to have space. So it's really good to have space under the bed as well. So underneath, so don't store things under the bed. And also windows open, fresh air, like sunlight coming in. So it's always fresh. And even if you can have a real plant in your room, that would be really good. So in my bedroom, at the end of our bed, we have no furniture so that my hubby and I can do yoga and stretch before we hop into bed. So
that's a great idea.
yeah. And the other thing, I've actually just purchased one of those alarm clocks alarm clocks that do the sunrise and the birds chirping. So it comes on really slowly for an hour or 40 minutes, and then you slowly wake up to the room being lightened by a yellow light really slowly. Because we have no phones, no electronic devices in our bedroom, because it actually makes it empty. The energy in it disappears when you don't have a phone in your bedroom. You can hear it, because the first night we did it, Pete goes, "Can you hear that?" I'm like, "Yes." It's like the white noise went away or something. I don't even know how to explain that. So I've just purchased that because I've had to bring my phone back in, and I put it under the bed. I have an ensemble with a pillow over the top of it because we need an alarm. And I don't want it out of the house so that it wakes everyone up, because we get up earlier than the kids. So that's the other thing, is to make sure there's no electronic devices in your bedroom. Buy that alarm clock. I haven't purchased, it's on its way. I haven't got it yet to try it, but I know other people that have used it and they love it. And
what's it called? I'm just making a note here. I'll put it in the show notes for people who might want to get one.
It's so Philips has a one. It's called the Sunrise Alarm Clock. Philips is a pretty good brand one.
Okay.
Yeah. So it does have a clock face, and it's circular, and then it starts really light white, and then it turns and goes yellow, and then you can have waves crashing, birds chirping, radio.
So cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've got to do all of those things, and just make sure that the bedroom is just yours and hubby's, and wake up 10 minutes before you actually want to get out of bed so you can have a cuddle. That's our thing too.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that, because my partner, we don't live together. He lives in Brisbane, but he's often here Sunday night and has to get up early on Monday morning. And I hate the alarm. Like, I hate it so much.
Yeah.
So that could be perfect. So I'll grab some links off here. I'll put them in the show notes, because that would just be a great way to kind of allow people to get rid of that technology, because yes, the alarm is why we often need our phones in there. Yep. Because I don't have a clock in my bedroom. So I think I'm going to make a couple of changes to my room.
And make sure when you go to bed also you read a book with paper. Like, don't use a screen. That's another thing.
Yeah. I love that, because I actually have got baby photos in my bedroom that I could move. I could easily move that. And a couple of things. I have got a plant now on my windowsill, which is thriving, which is awesome. So, but yeah, I have a very minimalistic bedroom. Yeah. And it feels lovely. And I bought new linen recently, which feels really good. Oh, I love those tips. I love it. So for people who we have focused mostly on the bedroom, but what's kind of one tip you would give for people if they're wanting to start this journey in their home?
Start the journey of decluttering their home?
Yeah.
Really, well, write a list, or grab my book, write a list of the things that you really, really want. Go into probably the room that most women like to start with, clothes, or go into the area that you really want a little bit of happiness in. So I love having the kitchen decluttered. It's my favorite room in the house because it's the heart of the home. It's the most used. So if the kitchen flows nicely, everything else seems to flow. So, I mean, it's very personal, but don't make it a big, don't make it a big job. So, you know, if you want to just start simply with the pantry, a pantry the size, a standard size pantry will take about 5 hours to declutter properly. So,
wow.
Yeah. But most people have a fair amount in their pantries. And so if you wanted to do that, make sure you double the time you think it's going to take, and also allow the right amount of time to get rid of the rubbish or the recycling, or if there's anything to donate, incorporate that into the whole job. So that when you come home from the op shop, or if you're going to, because you can donate food that is still sealed and within the date, you can donate food to most places. Incorporate that. If you're going to do something, take half a day or a day and just do that.
Yeah.
And be kind to you. Don't stand there going, oh, I shouldn't have done this and I should have done that. Like, oh, and look at the foods and really think about the foods that you want to eat, so you know what you get rid of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're like, right, I want to start a vegetarian diet, then get rid of tinned tuna. You know what I mean? Like, you've really got to think and know what you want so that you can do it properly. And then everything flows so beautifully. The energy is amazing. And then go and have an orgasm and your day will be perfect.
I love that combination. It sounds awesome. So where can people get a copy of your book?
Oh, on my website, which is www.passionateliving.com.au.
Awesome.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Well, I will put the link in the show notes for people who want to grab your book if they're ready to start decluttering in all different parts of their life. I love it. So is there anything else that you wanted to add this morning before we finish up?
Oh, I think that was pretty good.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to seeing a new course coming out and your new book coming out and lots of cool stuff happening. So go and check out Passionate Living. Is it .com.au?
Yeah. Yep.
And you can find everything about Tash. So thank you.
And they can find me on Instagram and Facebook as well. So
awesome. I'll put the links for those in there too.
Yeah. And they're all linked up.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed this. It's been fabulous. Thanks, Nikki.